Well, greetings. Well, I got two thumbs before I even started. Thanks. Hi, I'm here. I don't know what. I don't even know where to begin tonight. I'm just here, and this is what I am, and uh, it's just been totally insane. Um, with Constance Berg. Oh my God, this I never seen anybody post so much. I think he's using a dictation device where he's just talking. Stick your dick and cut it off, kind of just like stick a gun to your head and shoot yourself over and over and over again, and talking about how if he was if he was getting hormones in 1984, no man had to cut his dick off and be my bitch boy. And I'm like, well, hey, wait a minute. What if I don't, I don't want anything to do with this? And then Sneasel's there. I mean, this is like really disingenuous of Sneasel. He's egging her on. He's building her up. He's giving her the ass pats, and he create. I'll read this shit. I'm in the mood to read this kind of fucking crazy shit tonight. But I can't keep up with it any other way. I posted a thread at Kiwi Farms titled "Let's Get Real," and it was really well received by several people, including a new admin that only joined last fall by the name of Ride, who gave me a Semper Fi for the post. So, like, the seasoned. I introduced myself as a wise old cow. And as the compliments came in on that post, I went and left notes on the wall thanking them for it. So I should, I had told there are a few AM beasts that know how to get along with me and have a decent conversation. And one of them had what was it that I was responding? That was what it was. As I told them that there's a picture that somebody sent me and said it was Sneasel. That I told them that eventually I'd get around to posting it at Kiwi Farms, and hopefully some reasonably. I forget. I think it was rational. It was the word I forget. Maybe I'll read it again. I don't know. And he come back with good luck finding one. But it appears that let's take a look at this thread and see what kind of response is happening. Okay, not much. Let's see if we have to refresh the page to get some new stuff. It's quiet there tonight. They're not just jumping on this. I'm sure hot. Here's Looney Tunes. Appreciate your I'm live. Okay, here's what we said to Looney Tunes. Because that's the last I want to type there tonight. Until I'm done streaming, that's the last I want to type there on that thread. They said, and you know, please pay special attention to my use of pronouns and titles. If you want to be cool in the queer world, you need to respect people's preferences unquestionably. No bullshit and no snarkiness. You know, I don't like arguing about it with people, and especially not getting into a Lockhorn situation with a person like Dee Price. That's a really weird. That whole, you know, if you read what that person's saying about those children and themselves, something's off there, and a whole lot further off. And this is the point of this, is what I'm being accused of, which was really a very innocent thing that was part of the life and times of three famous hippies. Well, at least two famous hippies. It's called a hip story that I told. And the awful thing that I did, the only awful thing that I did related to that story, is having fictionalized it the way I did without changing the names. You know, if I hadn't changed the names, I could just say, well, that was just fucking fiction. And it was. It was an exercise in writing erotic fiction. All that was. None of that ever happened. It was a very simple thing. I walked in the door. They invited me in the bed. And I only had one mouth and two hands and two legs. And the older woman didn't like having one leg in her crotch and one hand on her, you know, going back and forth, you know, up and down between her pussy and her boobs, and my mouth going back and forth, and her not getting anywhere near as much as Sabrina. Oh well, the menage didn't work out. That was no fucking rape. And that's all I want to say about that. Everything else is in writing at this point. I'll get the email message from the person, and they never responded to my query. I think there was something from them at I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. Because, you know, I think I remember getting some from and sent some back with a request for more information, and I don't think they ever responded after that, and they never showed up back at AMB either. But that's the point of this thread, is that this is me talking to you kiwi farmers on my terms. That other stuff is bullshit. Okay, that's what this thread is about. And let's see what's up with the idiots. This is just nuts. This is just totally nuts. And they're egging them on. Them. I'm going with them on D. But, you know, as far as they weren't sexual, but it's this like delusional mother thing. I mean, you have to read what they say about the relationship, and that's, you know, and yeah, you know, the so-called daughter they raised was willing to flash her coochie to verify that she was cisgender. That's not much real good mothering, you know. So there's some questionable behavior, highly questionable, much more questionable than what I did in Dee's relationship to those three children in that house right now today. I don't think the person is mentally competent to like be in there right now. Let's see what's going on. Here, let me. Okay, he's calmed down. Looks like he may. Okay, he's totally calmed down. They've turned their guns on me, and he's probably, you know, it's about midnight out there, and allegedly he's getting up, they're getting up early in the morning. But you know, there's a lot of their like here's was Dia adopted. This ought to be wild. Oh, and now they're claiming that here's Reed Price has been all up their ass. This is the, you know, and they're projecting at me saying that I'm insane. So this is a threat about D that I never had anything to do with, and I'm gonna guess up front that D is gonna rage about me somewhere in the course of this thread, even though the question of the thread is, was D adopted? So let me take a quick look at the chatter, see if anybody's here. Nobody seems to be here. So let's get back to this. I think I need to roll a joint first. So this was at 8:46 p.m., which is like 3 hours ago, I guess, Eastern time, because it's about the same time Pacific now. Think about it. Shit. It's been terribly dusty. Now, wealthy families don't generally like buy a house and stash 4 kids in it under the supervision of a severely mentally unbalanced one with a history of some conflict with the parents. This is not regular family stuff. What this is some serious cracker shit in the South with some wealthy crackers and some lowlifes that are mixed into the scene through D. Guess what it appears to me. I haven't like gone digging as hard as Reed has. Think about it. D. Price had a very successful father. His grandfather was probably successful too. D's father had a PhD, yet D didn't even graduate high school and is unemployed at age 60. Success runs in his family's genes, but it skipped Dave. D's siblings seem normal, which leads me to believe that D is adopted. So here's Spastic. I don't know how to imitate. You know, I never. Let me see if I can get my voice up there and sound like a transgender person pushing their voice up. Spastic. I got a degree and it is all this does, but it is still a degree. And shit saying, I made Mensa at age 13. That is something I'm sure you could and never accomplished. By the way, Youngest thinks he can talk to ancient alien spirits from a star system that has 1/4 the age of our solar system. And she's coming at me about what I say about my ancestors, totally not understanding what I say. I am a priestess of the ancient order of Melchizedek. I used to call myself a Jewish poodle. My family, as near as I can tell, left Palestine in both, you know, we split. It was, you know, that was what happened. It's okay, well, it's time to split. So after the Bar Kokhba revolution, rebellion, that, you know, don't use Zionist Jewish history sources. They're bullshit. Okay. Hanukkah wasn't about the Maccabees. Hanukkah was about the miracle of the oil after the Maccabees liberated the temple, and so forth. And the same thing with Masada never even happened anywhere near like what they said it was. But anyway, moving right along. So here's Anal Princess. Also, notice how his siblings are normal, which means his parents had proper child raising skills. And now here's a really good point for me and my parents. Because I have two children, or two siblings, older and younger, and they both successfully raised families and had careers, and the kids have careers now too. I've got two cops in the family now, and an engineer on my sister's side, and I forget what all. There's computer degrees, I think, on my brother's side, and kids. They're making kids, and here I am. I've been successful in my own way. I've made it. I've lived through all this shit successfully because that's really all the second child with a penis in a tribal clan like mine, where my parents are pretty much arranged marriage. It's a pretty peculiar story. They were sort of, I don't know what went down while the boys were in the army, but they married different girls when they got out. And they all knew each other from high school. They just were coupled differently in high school. And I don't know what went down, but that made me. And I was born on election day. And the doctor had to tell my father to go home and my mother to go to sleep so they'd stop watching the election returns. Okay? This is me. You know, I was raised on discussions of religion and politics at the breakfast and dinner table over the newspapers. With I forget, the Tribune was the conservative one, and that came in the morning. And the Times Daily News came in the evening, and that was the liberal paper. And we grew up understanding these things about partisan politics because my father is what's known as a zetetic pragmatist. That I forget the really good concise description of that, but of zetetic, how zetetic fits in. But pragmatism is basically not accepting the binary conclusions on anything, understanding that there are facets to decision making. And the more complex a decision, the less black and white you need to put into the decision making process, and the more pragmatically you need to look at all the different conflicts of interest behind the decision itself. Like whether to bulldoze some fucking Indian nation's sacred sites to build a stinking wall that gets blown over by hurricanes. Excuse me. You know, pardon me for surviving. And if the best you have is to call me insane, well, hey, there's hundreds of people that dig my shit. Okay? That's where that's at. You know, I'm not an intention where I'm just a crazy old hippie that likes to hang out with people. I've always hung out with people since I was a little kid. And I don't scam anybody. I'm a quid pro quo kind of person. I give and I get. And that's the way life should be, as an open sharing of experience and material. You know, God didn't charge anybody for the resources. Those guys never paid anybody. You know, the guys claiming to own it never paid anybody for it. They just took it and said they owned it. What the fuck kind of shit is that? You talk about the 1%. Those people are just useful idiots. The guys holding the paper, that's like about 1/100%. You know, let's get real here, folks. Well, nobody's here to get real with me yet. We'll see. You know, we'll see. I'm not going to rage tonight. There's no way. Oh, just got a pedophile label on his forehead. And here's Ree. You know, much like your degree, you have no proof you were ever in Mensa. And I don't know whether they have grants, and I don't know if this person ever made a real, uh-oh. Like an anal princess. These people with their Photoshop. Anal princess went and put a fucking douchebag's head on some guys with huge hands, uh, shoulders, and huge hands and huge dick, and then chopped an old photo of me on the sub's head. It's like, please, that's some lame ass projection of some pretty sick homosexual fantasies there, Cupcake. Max has made it. I'm telling them, these guys. See, the difference between Kiwi farmers and the AM beasts is the AM beasts have a sense of humor. They aren't nearly as mean and stupid, at least as a whole. I don't know why I'm wondering about that, but just toward me, most of them are just being funny. They aren't like trying to destroy me. And they like NSFW warnings on shit. So I'm telling him he shouldn't do that because, wifey or bosses might be shoulder surfing me. Oh, and Nomad just went and insulted Haley Mills, and there's a picture that Deep Reprise has dug out from 2015 of a David Price with massive hands holding a baby. I mean, his hands cover the baby's from his baby's clavicle to past his stern. He covers the baby's entire chest with this one hand. And here's Haley Mills called. She said he has ruined the legacy of her haircut from the original Paratramp movie. Jesus, those meat hooks look like they transplanted from Andre the Giant, but he puts nail polish on him and thinks he's a pretty boy. I don't think he has any nail polish. No, he's got no nail polish on. That's why he and his kid got morbidly obese. A handful completely changes its meaning when you're dealing with those Godzilla-sized fists. Maybe Deep Price fattened up his children so that his hands will look smaller. Those hands should be rebuilding small box Chevys. Nothing feminine there. I think Deep could get instant SRS if he squeezes his penis with those massive claws hands. Now I'm going to want to back up on this a little bit. Feminine and masculine, stereotypical feminine and masculine characters, physical characteristics especially, are not determinative of a person's gendered behavior. Some women have very big hands. Some women are very tall. Some women have Adam's apples. Some women have penises, and some men have vaginas. I mean, this is my rap. There's and this is Anunnaki Marquez rap. Is you have endosex, which is what people are getting all cis about. It's like you got a penis, you got a penis, and your brain works in a male fashion. You're endosex. Shit fits. Intersex, your organs, or your primary sexual organs and your secondary sexual characteristics don't necessarily fit distinctly male or female. I'm intersex. I'm not an endosex man. I'm a trans feminine intersex person who was assigned male at birth on the basis of a cursory examination by a guy named Harry Benarin. And then my pediatrician by the name of Ralph Kunstadter decided he didn't like them lumps sitting up there and the way my scrotum was looking. So they dropped the lumps down into my scrotum, and that really fucked me up good, especially since they were making me be a guy. Sorry, girls don't have penises, and boys only cry when they bleed. And if you need something to cry about, we'll be glad to give you something. We'll be glad to beat the crap out of you. And that's me. I'm not claiming to be transsexual. I'm not really claiming to be transgender, because that's a kind of a nebulous term to begin with, and it's a conflicted term from its origin. It's conflicted because it was created at the same time, on the one end by doctors to desexualize the term transsexual, and on the other end from the gender queers who were not planning on getting their shit modified, but wanted to be able to express themselves as the gender that they identified with, rather than the gender that they were told that they had to identify with because of their genitals. Am I being coherent? Okay. Hey, do I need to repeat myself for the people in the back? Is anybody here even listening right now? No. All we have is a thank you, DX Network. So we don't only have a troll. Get rid of that idiot. Any questions, man? I'm here. I'm at my desk. Just well, that's okay. Bye, Luther. I know who you are. You're one of Michelle Delaney's crowd. You people are not welcome here. I'm not out about fighting or passing judgment on each other. You just leave me the fuck alone, you sick fucks. Go hang out with Michelle. No, I'm feeling good, man. I had a wonderful. I had a very emotional day. Very difficult. Because the muse is insisting that I maintain dignity at all times, and it's pointing out some things that I learned about myself and about living by the golden rule and how to respond to people that are loving you in a way that you don't want to be loved. I learned about, I've been learning about how to, because, look at the difference in my face. When I'm concentrating or angry or something, it doesn't, those feelings are internal too. When I'm kicked back and chilled and rapping with people smoothly and everybody's being nice to each other and talking about interesting things, that's like good times to me. And I don't need to be called out and shamed for something that bothers bother somebody about themselves that they're in denial about. You know, hey, fuck off with that shit already. I probably should go take a look and see what's happening on Facebook because I haven't been keeping up with that. And there's several active conversations. And Johnny Dangerous is live, so we gotta get that open.
Eating or talking or organizing or talking to the medics and just whatever they're doing.
There's
But instead, the police cleared this out today under so-called cleaning the park.
Okay.
It sounded like Trump.
The camp was
then the
cleaned
Fed
out of the
told
park.
the state police to clear the park.
Yeah, the park.
The Portland police, and then the Oregon State troopers. It was reported for sure. Told the Portland police they requested that they cleared the park, and they did. So there's this level of coordination that they're not supposed to be having. They clearly are. Like I said earlier, this used to be a beautiful R.I.P. Floyd right on the side of this public bathroom and completely removed. Like I said, there's, residue from all this. This used to be lined with benches. Homeless people, houseless folks used to live in the park with their tents and belongings.
Okay, let me speak to this now.
Were removed or potentially seized.
I happen to oppose the whole Occupy reality. That they are infringing on my right to using that public space by occupying it without proper authority. And by defacing things, they're now committing criminal acts on top of that occupation of public land without proper authorization. This was a huge problem during the Occupy Wall Street time with all the different cities. And they had worked something out with the city of Austin to use the City Hall Plaza because they refused to allow the encampment like that in the park because that destroys the ability of the rest of the population to use the park. And it's not fair to us for you to sit out there and do that shit. There's other ways of going about it without occupying, I'm sorry you're homeless, but anybody who's like homeless and stuck homeless, there's usually reasons for that. The issue should always be toward affordable housing and affordable camping, and a complete crackdown on recidivist reprobate. The mentally challenged need to be sheltered properly in a low-income housing or low-income camping, and the criminals that are fucking things up with the drugs. I watched this go down in Tucson with Camp Bravo and Occupy Tucson, where it was like the drug dealers fucked up the whole deal for everybody, both places, where Occupy Tucson had allies that were pushing on the city council to establish a place for these, they were like big caskets that somebody had made for them that were out in the Cesar Chavez Park. I forget, that's kind of a popular name for the park. I think it's, no, it's not Relita, I forget. It's got a different name. It's this strip of land that was left in between Congress and Broadway, where they come back together, or I forget what. Yeah, it's Congress, and yeah, it's that strip of land right there, Congress and Broadway. They come back together somewhere else. Broadway quits. Something happens in there. I forget what happens over by the convention center, but it's a strip of land at Church. where they were doing it, and everything was moving forward in the council toward finding a piece of land to do this on, when the idiots downtown were selling drugs out of those like little homeless boxes. And the cops busted the whole thing, and nobody wanted anything to do with it in their neighborhood. And that whole proposal fell apart. Now, meanwhile, the veterans had a campment in the northeast corner of Santa Rita Park that they called Camp Bravo, that was orderly and clean, and they kept up with the sanitation, the whole, they're hauling water and shit and just doing it right. And the drug dealers fucked that up. And the yuppies demand, the area's getting gentrified with all these like upscale folk coming in and buying renovated properties. And they insisted that the camp be dismantled. So now we got these substance abuse, substance dependent, chemical dependent. That's what we want. Chemical dependent people all over the neighborhood, and the exchange is right there on the corner of 4th and 22nd. And here I am. This is the third fucking time in my life that I've ended up right in the middle of a dope dealer. I'm less than 100 yards from the intersection where this is going down. So, gosh, there's just so much shit. I coined a new term today: kaleidoscopic stupidity. But that Occupy is bullshit. That's just bullshit. That the communities can turn out boots without occupying public property. That's to me, that's the flaw with them. I know that BLM is able to coordinate with others and obtain permits to do shit or attend events where it's an open crowd, and fuck that occupying shit. That's the outcome. Because you got, I'm not opposed to them having cleared the park, having experienced what I have experienced over the years in the gentrification wars at places where there's temporary communities that have been set up with and without permission. They had to shoot me to get me off to Tent City that me and the hippies had started, because they couldn't bust me for anything. They could hold me for more than over the weekend. And that's that. They shot me after holding me. They busted me for something stupid, held me for the weekend, and then shot me when I got out of jail. The whole thing was covered up in the fucking newspapers. All of them. No. If you think that's a COPD cough, you don't know coughs. That was a slightly dehydrated wheat cough. um, and that's upper respiratory dealing with particulates. And I'm going to need to be silent for a little while to let that all catch up. So let's see what's else going on. And I'm not going to say much. Oh boy, here's where they're jamming them about, or them. Lulu's on the set. Absolutely. Here's the latest. Here's the latest read price. This is from I posted this at 10 o'clock Eastern. Tom says I'm unhinged and wants them to come at me with AR-15s and SUVs. No, that's what your friends did to me. But actually I'm thinking of something more along the lines of a mobile crisis team with a pair of MHS ST officers, dear. You're in serious need of help and are in complete denial of it. Oh, Lulu's here. Okay, they're going. That's an interesting one, and I don't really want to talk about it, and I'm not going to try. Is anybody even here to say anything? It's an interesting conversation with Lulu and Whitey. Anybody here? No, good. That's okay. There's hardly anybody here. Um, so I don't have to say anything. And um, Okay. Now I'm just here unless somebody's talking to me or I want to say something to the camera. This is a live stream of one. You know, I'll get in front of the camera and forget it's running for 5 hours. And you see me getting up now and then and go and do things, and might even be gone for an hour or two before I come back. But you know, there's only 3 people here, so I'm not going to say much because I want to. The less I speak, the less I cough because I'm not breathing in so much particulate through my mouth. That's where that's at. I don't have COPD. I'm getting even tired of looking at it. It's so stupid. You know, anybody who calls my cough COPD and sees me, well, yeah, it's getting a little too late to play the horn. So let me give it a little tootle for one last tootle for the day. I never play after 10 o'clock over here. Not before 9 and not after 10, because there's an elderly woman upstairs. I give up. I don't know if there's anybody listening that knows what they were listening to. Or it's just some tenured fucking wankers gonna make fun of it. There are things that I play that astound professional saxophone players when I hit it, because there are intervals that and runs that they don't even dare try in a live audience. You know, they'll work it out in the studio. Some of the shit I do. But the idiots laugh at me. I had one guy one night come up to me and he's chatting me up and asking me why. He was asking me how much my horn was. You know, he said, "What kind of horn is that?" It's a Slade from China. I think that's what I had at the moment. I think it was another one of these. I think this is what Max and the AMB said had sent me in the first place was a Slade. So it cost about $200. Um, and it was that horn that the guy was asking me about, because that was a good little horn once I got it broken in. It needed a lot of adjustment when I first got it. But once it got broken in, it was a sweet little horn. And this guy come up and he's an alto sax player. And he's like, man, I got a $2,500 horn I can't do shit like that with, because the horn can't handle it. You have, focus. You have to really concentrate on those difficult passages. I haven't played music that way for 20 years now. Where I'll do it some night soon. I'll bust out the book and butcher some standards for you. Because you have to go through it phrase by phrase and get it. If you're going to perform it in front of an audience, it's got to be fucking perfect. Okay, and it's just the way it is. And you have to get it perfect. What Dr. Moen told me when I hit him up about teaching me bebop, he come back with, "No, you got to pay dues." And I'm like, "Well, what's dues?" He says, "Well, you got to play it billions and billions of times until it comes out the way you heard it in your head." And he'd walk me through. He was my instructor, and he'd walk me through this shit. You hear me playing those exercises all the time. Is what you're hearing is the shit that Moen beat into my head. But I had this book. God, what was it? I can't remember the name of it. But it was a classical method book, and a couple of books of tunes that I was trying to learn from, and I wasn't very good at all. I mean, I was really shitty. I hadn't been playing for, I never was good to begin with at all. I was, I've had to work for everything I have with a horn, with anything, with any music. My grandmother was a piano teacher, and she taught me how to play chopsticks before anybody taught me how to talk or walk. And I was never any good with piano. I still am no good with piano. And unfortunately, I busted my wrist because sometimes the keyboard will suck me into it, and it'll play me. And some pretty amazing sound will come out of it. Again, I'll try and, I'll do that soon. I need to get my studio in order. I've been under a lot of stress. It was totally like my own doing for accepting it. I took, I'm a gonzo journalist, and I write, but I don't know how to say this. There's just been so much intense shit to write about that it's draining. I don't get paid for it, and it's eating into my time. I'm online trying to sell my art, and trying to produce music and get make money with the music. Help my friends market their art, sell stones, and not like there's certain this is my news time that I spend with these people. As I traded all this is my morning and evening news kind of shit going on. I end up getting stuck with them and not getting all the other stuff done right. Where I need to limit my time dealing with writing about current events is basically where it's at. This is me. I've always been in the streets doing what I'm going to call snoring with stick. That's what I do. Is I snore with stick. It's not the same as begging. It's a quid pro quo kind of thing, busking. I'm giving something of value to people, and they're giving me something in money in return. Or sometimes drugs or food or beverage or whatever. You know, that's a fair trade, you know, economy where you don't necessarily have to trade in fiat currency. You know, I don't always take cash for my stones. I get weed for them pretty often. And people give me other things too. You know, they'll give me a piece of jewelry or something. Um, and you know, you don't need to be totally dependent on fiat currency because there's plenty of other things you can trade. Um, you know, I trade labor for cash. That's all that is you're trading labor for cash. Now, if you want to chain yourself to a job 24/7, subordinate to some douche chart, um, enjoy. What's going on with Lulu's quote? Let's see, I fucked that one up. Uh, Dave was like rage typing so much, um, all night long. And I really don't even want to, you know, I don't even want to look at this shit. It's all Nomad is an idiot. Let's see what Reprice. Re's on it. Yeah. Oh, now, now, Dia's thinking that uh, Ria's jamming D about the weird picture that Anal Princess made with my head and Dee's head on this guy with a huge dick and twink on the floor getting ready to suck it. And so here's Reprise says, I just saw a picture of you you took of Tommy and yourself in another thread. I didn't realize you two were intimate like that. So D, you or Tom are, I'm sure. As for Tom, well, he is a foul pedophile, and you seem to like to coddle him and harass a mother that protect her. See, this is not fucking like normal. Okay, this is this is a person playing. This is a male. You know, here's my nomenclature. My sex is male. My gender is female. I don't claim that I'm reproductively capable to be somebody's mother. Okay, I'm female. I'm a woman who has male primary sexual organ. It happens. A couple, 3-4% of us are born this way all the time, everywhere, all cultures. It's always been this way. So some of us are transgender and intersex, and that's the way it is. And if you don't believe it, I don't care. Don't put it in my face anymore. So I guess you would love to get your hands on a child like Thomas. Well, it's like, hey, Holy shit. Anybody here paying attention to this, trying to talk to me? I'm here, and I'm, or did I lose the looks like I lost. Looks like I lost my screen. Oh, there it is.
Big tech firms have sweeping power that authoritarian dictators once dreamed of. Somewhere in a very hot place, Nikolai Ceausescu drools in envy.
Hi,
Tech
Sarah.
companies
I
can, in
hope you're
just
still
seconds,
here.
censor videos, articles,
Let's get
news
rid of
reports.
this.
They disappear.
That's cool. I'm glad to see that. Where have you got any recordings of yourself you can share with me? I'm doing well. You can see my studio was just. We're here. I'm hanging. You know, I was talking about it a little while ago. Is that I've allowed myself to accept all this excess stress. Reporting on the, dealing with COVID and the Trump plague and all that, getting real political and right up in the middle of shit. And it's been trying, but the way things have worked out with increased benefits, where they increased my food stamps, and I haven't even spent the whole first benefits check yet. Because there wasn't, I'm sorry I didn't buy silver when it was $17, because now it's back up to 22. And I couldn't find a machine that I wanted. So there's still a chunk of money sitting. And there's supposed to be another check this month, so maybe I can find the machine again. My Social Security benefits cover my overhead easily. That's only $600 a month for the rent, utilities. Then phone is $45, and internet is $60. And I think that's it, except for some small stuff. I haven't had to buy a bus pass since March because that's been free. So my expenses have been down, and not having the busking income hasn't been so bad. And I've sold some stone, and I had some Benjamins come my way from patrons in was it April and May, or May and June? I forget, but I got kicked down fat by two people, and 1 month after another. So it's been easy for me, and my art is I don't know, I'm impressing myself with, I've reached another plateau with my performance art, as far as to me, on the horn, the way I trained the horn, doctor, to back up to where I was before I changed gears. He set me on this, you just got to play it billions and billions of notes until it comes out sounding the way you want it to. And he taught me a lot of technique about articulation, phrasing, intonation, so all sorts of special stuff, double tonguing and altissimo fingerings and all kinds of crazy shit. And I forget, I got a lot of technique out of James Hulick too, who came and did one of his teaching concerts at the school at U Tampa. I never saw a lot of rock concerts other than Woodstock. Anybody who was on the Woodstock stage during the 90s. And I caught Johnny Winter once and caught a few Dead shows, and that's pretty much about it. It was mostly the jazz and blues artists that I've caught live over the years. And I never really could get that bebop thing down. I mean, I got swing down okay. You know, I can play the big band swing stuff. But I never could get near people like Parker and Coltrane and Sonny Rollins. It just didn't make sense to me. I wasn't getting it. I'm not finding it, and so I gave up trying and concentrated on what I do well, which is like boogie, blues boogie. You know, we call it. I call it. What did I dub it? It was. Psychedelic rockabilly punk kind of thing. You know, the acid rock, blues, you know, bass and blues, you know, white boy blues, acid rock kind of sound. I do the sax right on that, and I can play. I play pretty. I can do pretty, especially you know the pretty ballads and stuff like that. I can do, and I like to. And what happens is when I'm on the street, when I'm alone in the studio, I'm reaching for pretty. But when I'm on the street, you know, pretty doesn't bring me the money. And I think with that, since I only have one person here and nobody's really saying much, and I responded to Sarah, I spent an hour and a half, and I'm at the point where I have to decide whether I'm going to go to bed without eating anything today, or if I'm going to have something to eat before I go to bed. So thanks for coming, and anybody who comes along later. And see you next time. Bye-bye.